Hello guys, welcome to the Harvard Lab. My name is Babatunde Arolo, and today we're going to be talking about exponents and integers, and we're going to be working with the problem type 1. Okay, so an exponent, okay, we're going to define that first. Okay, so what an exponent means, an exponent just basically means the how many times a particular number should multiply itself. Okay, so let's say we have a number like this. Let's say we have 3 to the power of 3. Okay, this this power here, this 3 up here is called the exponent, and it's kind of the counter. Kind of tells us, okay, how many times are we going to multiply 3 by itself. Okay, so let's look at another example. 3 to the power 3 is kind of confusing. Let's say 4 to the power 3. Okay, this 3 is the exponent. Okay, and we're going to use 3 as kind of the counter, which basically means we're gonna have to multiply 4 3 times. Okay, because 3 is gonna be the counter. So it tells us, okay, how many times are we gonna multiply 4 by itself? Okay, so we're gonna multiply 4 by itself 3 times. Okay, so what 4 raised to the power 3 means is basically 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, so we multiply 4 3 times in this case. Okay, so whenever you're given a problem like this, whenever you approach this kind of problems in exponents, just know that the power on top here tells us how many times we have to multiply the number down here by itself. Okay, so let's get into these questions. Okay, so based on what I said up here, we're going to use that same approach in these questions. Okay, so we're asked to evaluate minus 4 squared. So let's start with minus 4 squared first. So we're asked to evaluate minus 4 squared. Okay, so in this kind of situation, what I want to do is, okay, so we're going to use this example I used here. Okay, we're going to kind of use this example as a template to solve these questions. Okay, so what I want to do, the first step I want to do is I want to identify what the symbol, like what the symbol that is with the number that is attached to. Okay, so the symbol in this first question, the symbol attached to the number is a negative, right? And so since it's a negative, we need to know like, okay, are we going to be using a squared or a cube, or is the power going to be an odd or even number? Okay, so let's look at this. So this tells us to find minus 4 squared, right? And so based on this example I put up here, this is basically equals to minus 4 times minus 4. Okay, so we have to multiply minus 4 by itself twice. Okay, because 2 is the counter, right? So we multiply minus 4 times minus 4 twice because we have an exponent here of 2. Okay, and so when we multiply, we know when we multiply a minus times a minus, that gives us a plus, right? And a 4 times a 4 equals a 16. Okay, so a minus 4 times a minus 4 will give us a plus 16. Okay, because no one multiply minus times a minus, that gives us a plus. When we multiply a plus times a minus, that gives us a minus also. Okay, and when we multiply a plus times a plus, that gives us a plus. And when we multiply a minus times a plus, that gives us a minus. Okay, so it would be good if you can write this down, these symbols I've put down here, so you can kind of put it, you can write it down anywhere, you can memorize it if you like. Yeah, but you always need these symbols in your everyday mathematics life. Okay, so based on this, we know that minus 4 squared should be equals to plus 16, right? And based on that, we already got the answer. Okay, so let's go to the next question. The next question is minus 3 to the power of 3. Okay, so let me put that down. This is minus 3 to the power of 3. And we know that the exponent here is a 3, right? Okay, and 3 is basically the counter, which is telling us, okay, we have to multiply minus 3 times. Okay, so since we have an exponent of 3, we're going to have to multiply minus 3 by itself 3 times. Okay, so this is minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3. Okay, see what we did here? So instead of multiplying twice like we did here, we multiplied 3 times because the exponent here, which is this power up here, says 3. Okay, so when we do that, okay, what I want to do when I'm working with all this kind of stuff is I want to start from the left side first. If I kind of go to the right, okay, I want to work with two numbers at the same time. I don't want to jump into any other conclusion. Okay, so let's start with these first two ones from the left. Okay, so this is a minus times a minus. Minus times a minus, we know based on this table, minus times a minus will give us a plus, right? That's a plus. And 3 times 3 equals 9, right? That gives us a 9 here. Okay, so that means minus 3 times minus 3 here gave us a plus 9, right? So this is plus 9, but we're left with this number here. Okay, so this is plus 9 times minus 3. Okay, so now we don't include these two because we know when we multiply minus 3 by minus 3, that gives us a plus 9. Okay, and so now we include this one because we didn't include it when multiplying these two. Okay, we know a plus times a minus equals a minus, right? Because a plus times a minus equals a minus. Okay, so this equals minus first. And we know 9 times 3 equals 27. Okay, because if we add 9 by itself 3 times, that gives us a 27. Okay, so minus 3 to the power 3 should give us a minus 27. Okay, so let me put that down. So we already got the answer for the first one. That was a 16. The second one was a minus 27. Okay, yeah. And it doesn't really matter if you, as long as the sign is a positive, it doesn't matter if you put the positive up there, right? But most people prefer to just leave the numbers as it is, as long as the sign in front is a positive. Okay, all right, so let me just do a quick recap of what I did here. What I did was I kind of observed the question, and I kind of knew that the sign in front of the number that we'll have to evaluate was a negative. Okay, so I know it's a negative, so we're going to be working with somewhat negative numbers, right? And this power here, this exponent, basically tells us how many times we have to multiply the number inside of the parentheses by itself. Okay, so we know that the number up here was 2, okay, and the number in here was minus 4. So we had to multiply minus 4 by itself twice. Okay, so when we multiplied minus times a minus, that gave us a plus based on this table here. And then a 4 times itself, 4 times 4, that gave us a 16, okay? And I did the same thing for this question also. Um, I knew what the counter was, what the exponent was. So in this case, the exponent was 3. Okay, so the exponent is telling us we have to multiply minus 3 by itself 3 times. Okay, which is what I did here. I multiplied minus 3 by itself 3 times. So when I did that, I always wanted to start with two numbers first. Okay, so I started with two numbers here, minus 3 and minus 3. That gave me a positive 9, right? And then I ended with two numbers again, positive 9 times minus 3. That gave me a minus 27. Okay, all right, let me clean this up. And then we can start a new question. Okay, and feel free to pause the video if you like to test the knowledge on this new question. Yeah, but if not, let me continue. Okay, so the same approach we used in this question, that's what we're gonna, in the previous question, that's what we're gonna use in this question. Okay, so this is a minus 9 to the power of 3. Okay, so first off, we'll observe a question and we kind of want to identify the sign we're working with, which is minus in this case, right? So we know that this is a minus 9 to the power of 3, right? And we know that the exponent, which is the power here, is a 3, right? So that means we have to multiply minus 9 by itself 3 times, okay? And when we do that, that will give us a minus 9 times a minus 9 times a minus 9, okay? And when we're working with this, we always want to want to pay careful observation to the sign in front of the numbers. Okay, in this case, the sign in front of the numbers here are minus 9 and all of that. Okay, so the sign in front here are minus. Okay, so we have to pay careful observations with the signs in front of the numbers. All right, so we know when we multiply a minus times a minus in this case, because we're starting with these first two numbers before we move to this. When we multiply a minus times a minus, that gives us a positive, right? Okay, so minus times a minus will give us a positive, so we'll put that down, plus. And when we multiply a 9 times 9, that gives us an 81, right? Because 9 times 9 equals an 81. If you add 9 by itself, if you add 9 plus 9 plus 9 in 9 places, that's going to give us an 81. Okay, this is plus 81 and then times minus 9. Okay, and we know a positive times a negative will give us a negative, right? This equals negative first, and we know 81 times 9. If we use, okay, I want to use this format when I'm working with big numbers in terms of multiplication. Okay, so 9 times a 1, that equals a 9, right? So what I want to work with this, I want to start from the bottom, the one number at the bottom. Okay, I want to use this number to multiply whatever's at the top first. Okay, so I start with this first number at the top. This first number at the top here, starting from the right, is a 1, right? And we know when we multiply 9 times a 1, that gives us a 9, right? That gives us a 9. And then 9 times 8 is what is 72, right? Because when we multiply 9 in 8 places, that gives us a 72. This is 729. Okay, so we know 81 times 9 equals minus 729. Alright, so let me check that out. Okay, so this gives us a minus 729. So the next one is minus 6 squared. Okay, so this is minus 6 squared. This is basically going to be used as the counter in this case. Okay, this is the exponent, which tells us how many times we have to multiply minus 6 by itself. Okay, so minus 6 we have to multiply by itself how many times? Twice. Okay, so that's minus 6 times minus 6. When we multiply minus times a minus, that gives us a positive, right? Equals a positive. And 6 times 6, if you add 6 by itself in 6 places, that's going to give you a 36. So that's a plus 36. Okay, so we're done with that. 36. So let's check that out. Yeah. Okay, so let me do a quick recap on what I did. Okay, so what I did was I identified the exponents. Okay, the exponent here was 3. The exponent is basically the power. I identified the exponent and I used the exponent as a counter to kind of tell me how many times I need to multiply the number by itself. So the number in this case was minus 9, right? And I needed to multiply it 3 times because the exponent here was a 3. And when I did that, that gave me a minus 729. And always remember, you want to start with the first two numbers starting from the left. Okay, you started from the left and make use of these products of signs that I've given over here. Will be really helpful. Okay, so thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope it helped you out and have a beautiful day ahead. Bye.